The town of Ashwood had been abandoned for nearly 50 years. No one spoke about why, but every map still marked its roads, its empty buildings, its nameless past. People passing through always said the same thing: Ashwood felt wrong. Animals refused to enter. The air carried a weight that pressed against the chest like unseen hands. No one stayed long. But for Daniel Carter, a paranormal investigator with a failing YouTube channel, Ashwood was a goldmine. An entire ghost town, untouched for decades, with no trespassing laws. He could already see the views rolling in. He packed a camera, extra batteries, and a flashlight, then set out just before sundown. The drive took him deep into the mountains, where the trees grew unnaturally thick and the road narrowed into little more than gravel. His GPS stopped working miles before he arrived, leaving only silence and the fading light of day. When he finally reached Ashwood, the town was smaller than he expected. A few crumbling buildings stood near the road, their windows shattered, their doors swaying with the wind. A church loomed in the center of town, its steeple leaning at an unnatural angle. The rest of the town stretched beyond that, but the further he looked, the darker it seemed to get, as if the town swallowed the last light of the sun. He stepped out of his car, camera in hand. The air smelled stale, like damp wood and old rot. There were no birds, no insects, not even the rustling of leaves. Just silence. Daniel started filming, narrating as he walked. "Alright, guys, we're here in Ashwood, the infamous ghost town nobody dares to visit. Let's see if we can find out why." He moved toward the first house, stepping carefully over broken glass and dead vines. The door hung open, revealing a single room filled with decayed furniture. A wooden chair lay overturned near a fireplace, its surface covered in deep scratches. He panned the camera across the walls. Faint handprints covered the peeling wallpaper, too small to belong to an adult. His stomach twisted. Something about them felt wrong. "Okay, that's creepy," he muttered. He turned to leave when a whisper brushed against his ear. "Not alone." He spun around, flashlight beam shaking as it cut through the dim room. Nothing. Just dust swirling in the stale air. Daniel took a breath, forcing out a nervous laugh. Alright, that was probably just the wind. Moving on. He stepped back outside. The air felt colder now, though the sun had barely set. His eyes drifted toward the church at the center of town. Something about it pulled at him, like an itch he could not reach. As he approached, the wind picked up, carrying a strange sound. Not quite a voice, not quite the wind. A low hum, rising and falling, like someone singing beneath their breath. The church doors were locked, but one of the side windows was broken. Daniel climbed through, landing with a soft thud inside. The air was thick with dust, the pews covered in tattered cloths. A massive cross stood at the front of the church, its surface warped and blackened, as if it had been burned. Beneath it, the floor was wrong. The wooden boards bulged unnaturally, as if something underneath was trying to push through. Daniel stepped forward, reaching out. The boards shuddered. A hollow knock echoed from beneath his feet. He staggered back. The humming sound grew louder, surrounding him. It was not the wind. It was voices. Dozens of voices. From the shadows between the pews, figures began to rise. They were thin, too thin, their limbs stretching too long, their faces featureless except for gaping, hollow mouths. Daniel stumbled, scrambling toward the broken window, but something grabbed his ankle. He kicked, breath coming in ragged gasps as he fought free. He lunged through the window, glass cutting his hands as he hit the ground outside. The church door creaked open behind him. Daniel did not look back. He sprinted toward his car, his breath sharp, his heart hammering in his chest. The air had changed. The town was darker, the buildings taller, shifting in ways that did not make sense. The road he came from was gone, replaced by more houses, more streets, stretching endlessly into blackness. The town would not let him leave. Behind him, the voices rose in a chorus of whispers.
Not alone. Not alone. Not alone.
He was never supposed to come here. And now, he never would leave.